Gentlemen, my name is Ted Daisher. I've been fortunate enough to be a football coach for 42 years at the high school level in the United States, in Division II, which is a lower level in the U.S., a 1AA, which is a little higher than that, and then for 25 years I was a Division I football coach in the United States. Also fortunate enough to coach professional football, 6 years in the National Football League. So I just wanted to cover and go over briefly my background. Today I'm going to speak on special teams. If I can get this thing to work. All right, here we go. All right, special teams. Special is defined as an unusual quality. Team is defined as a group of individuals assembled together for some purpose. The special teams unit of a football team comprises the ultimate team aspect of the ultimate team sport. This is the one and only area of our team which brings together every individual part of our team. As you go out and you're doing your coaching, every person on your team should be involved in special teams. The offensive line has to be on field goal, the defensive line on field goal block, the linebackers, secondary receivers, running backs, tight ends, they all have to participate. You have to get everyone to buy in to being a part of special teams. You need team-oriented people to do that. They're not on the team to be on special teams. They want to catch the ball, they want to throw it, they want to make tackles, they want to be in this. You have to get those people to buy in to being a part of special teams. And that's not easily done, especially in the National Football League. Special teams will set the tone of any game and will establish the personality of a team. Any team that you watch, especially in a U.S. game that you watch them play on special teams. See the effort, the intensity, how hard they play on special teams. That will be a reflection of the entire team. That's really important to establish that, getting people to buy into that and understand that to help your team. Goals. We have a number of goals that apply to every aspect of our play, and we will work and progress each week. In the end, however, there's only two things that matter, is to win. And what can you do on special teams to help your team win? You have to be sound in your coverage teams, punt and kickoff. You can't put your defense in a bad field position. Guys got to run down and cover and make tackles. The return game, punt and kick return. Try to establish good field position for your offense. Execution on field goal. You have to make field goals. You got to protect. You got to kick it. Field goal block, punt return, punt block, all those things. Football is a game, it's called, we use the term complementary football. You need to complement your offense and complement your defense. That's your role as a special teams unit. What can we do as our unit to help our team be successful? And that's how we go about explaining it. And I know that the offense appreciates it when you get the ball on the 50-yard line going in. And the defense likes to take the field when the offense is backed up inside their own 10-yard line. So those are the things you can do on special teams to help your team be successful. And the other thing that you know, we do is in the NFL in particular, everything, there's statistics for everything. They keep track of everything. And we want to be the best unit in the NFL. That was our goal each and every place that I've had a chance to be. And that should be the goal for everybody. Let me see if I can get this to... All right. Hang on, just bear with me here. Okay. We're all in this together. No one is above getting dirty. Our time is now. We expect no second chance. We won't need one because we prepare to get it right the first time. We'll take care of one another and we will be accountable so that we can be counted on. There is no second down in special teams. Offensively, you can run the ball, not get any yards, get sacked on second down, and hit a play and continue a drive. On defense, you can give up a long pass. Next play, get a turnover and get a stop. You do not get a second chance on special teams. Every single time you take the field, you got to hit the nail on the head. You got to get it right every single time. You can't say, well, the next time we'll get it. No, you have to be prepared. You have to go out with the mindset that on this play, we're going to execute. Whatever our responsibility is, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that done. The success principles are things that a lifetime of coaching has brought me to this. These 4 principles. Number 1, effort. It takes no talent, no ability to give effort. That is a decision made by each individual on each play. You give effort. When that play starts, you're going to go as hard as you can for 4 to 6 seconds. That is just fundamental. As a coach, I think that's the measuring stick of a coach, especially having gotten started a long time ago. When or whatever your position you're coaching, you watch them. Are they playing hard? Are they giving effort? Are they doing everything they can to help the team be successful on that particular play? Toughness. I had to work for a lot of different people, but I worked for a man that I have a great deal of respect for named Art Shell. And he defined toughness as this: what you do from when the ball is snapped till the whistle's blown. That's it. None of this. No going around beating your chest. What did you do from when the ball was snapped until the whistle was blown? And can you do that for 4 quarters? That's toughness. That's displaying toughness. Toughness is displayed. It's not verbalized. It's an action. It's how you play football. And that's something that your team needs to have. You've got to be effort. You've got to give toughness. Those are things that are fundamental. And the gentleman that spoke before me did a great job of explaining something that's very true, that holds true forever. The execution of basic fundamentals and techniques will lead you to success in football. Not the X's and O's, not the scheme. Basic fundamentals. Teaching kids how to block, how to tackle, teaching people on defense what to do with their eyes, their hands, and their feet. Those fundamentals are so true. And that's how you develop young players. That's how you develop players at any level of football. Improve their fundamentals. I just wanted to throw that in there. Discipline. He also mentioned West Point. I had the privilege of coaching West Point for 3 seasons. And they're all about discipline. And they had a real simple definition. Do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. That's simple. Whatever your responsibility is, do it. If you're a defensive back and you're supposed to be in the deep third, be in the deep third. If you're an offensive guard and you're supposed to pull to the right on a play, pull to the right. If you're a running back and you're supposed to hit a hole right there, don't go off on your own, hit it right there. Doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. That consistency will lead you to success. And the last one's mentality. And the game is changing. There's all kinds of different ways to go about coaching, and everyone has their own personality, and they go about doing things the way they want. My personality is just one of this. You should be able to put the film of our special teams and watch them play and tell what kind of team and what kind of mentality we have. The effort, how fast, how physical they play, that should be reflected. And if you coach with that mentality, they will play with that mentality. And that is something that I just have believed in life, and I think if you approach life that way, you'll have success. How special teams win. Football is a game of vertical field position. Constantly seeking the high ground in football, we want to provide our offense and defense with the opportunity and advantage to play downhill on our opponents. Complementary football. Make sure you're sound. The quickest way to lose a game is get a punt blocked. Quickest way to lose a game is give up a big play on special teams. The momentum, how it helps the other team, that's how you get beat. You've got to play complementary football. So everything we do on special teams, we are trying to be efficient on a consistent basis. Special teams plays will account for 25 to 35 plays per game this year. That will work out to about 360 plays in regular season. That's the NFL. Teams play to have more yardage exchange per play, which is true. And when you realize these 2 factors, you can see how important it is. Field position, momentum. All those things are affected by special teams. The other thing that I think is important, and you need to have all the players on your team buy into everything that you're doing, is special teams core players are starters in every sense of the word. In our league, every play matters. The difference in the game is always the next play. And when you take the field, it should be with great pride and armed with complete preparation. Confidence. Especially young players, young kids. Help them build confidence. If they're not starting on offense or defense and they're playing on special teams, hey, you're a starter just like everybody else. You're a starter. You play a key role in what we're doing here as a team. You help lead us to success. Building that confidence is critical. Just keep relating to the National Football League, which is where I've coached, and how this relates the most. You draft players and you bring them into your organization and you put them on special teams. As they have success on special teams, it's no different than any other thing in life. You do a good job with a little responsibility, we'll give you more responsibility. They learn to develop, they gain confidence, they become position players. And there's so many examples of guys that came into the National Football League as a free agent or not highly sought after guy that went on to have great success. And special teams can help them that way. And I think especially in youth football and those things, it can help kids mature and progress. Punt. Punt's going to be the main thing I'm going to cover today. People say that punt's the most important play in football. The reason they say that is because that's the only play that you know before the snap there's going to be 40 yards of field position exchange. You don't know that on any offense or defensive play. So as you go out for punt, you got to hit the nail on the head. You've got to have protection. The punter's got to execute his responsibility. The coverage units have to be in the right lanes, converge to the ball, do all the things they're supposed to do. Execution on punt is critical. We would put our best football players on punt. You cannot have a mistake. We even have a couple starters that would go in and play a little bit on punt just to help us out, just to make sure there was no errors. You cannot have mistakes on punt. There are different styles of punt. I'm going to cover both today. Hold on one second here. All right, this is the pro style spread punt. There's a variety of different punt formations. You can use the college spread, and I'll get to that in a minute. This is just a starting point. As you can see the formation, the biggest thing about this style of punt is the snapper has a blocking responsibility, which is difficult. We understand that. That may not be applied to the game you're coaching here, but this is just I'll go over this briefly. The center guard split is 6 inches. The guard tackle split is a foot. The slot, which is the guy behind that right tackle, is a yard off the ball. His inside foot is even with the outside foot of that tackle. The technique is mirrored on both sides. The personal protector is 5 to 6 yards deep. He can vary based on the looks and things that he's seen, but that's where his alignment is. Based on that's a right-footed punter. The gunners are the wide people. In the NFL, it's all about the gunners. They have to get down there. They have to cause fair catches. The gunner to the rip Liz call. A rip Liz call, I don't know if you guys use this here, but we tell our punter we want to punt it to the right or to the left. And if it's punted to the right, it's rip. If it's punted to the left, it's Liz. That would tell that gunner to the right his alignment, which is splitting the difference between the bottom of the numbers and the sideline, because we're punting ball to his side. The gunner away is between the hash and the top of the numbers to the wide side of the field. All right? And again, the personal protector is 5 yards behind the right guard in this instance. We have a variety of punt protections. And you have to, in this formation, it's very simple, but you got to have different calls. Those calls are solid, which are 6 potential rushers. And 6 potential rushers, and I'll show you a diagram that will illustrate this as you go along. I just want to cover it briefly. The slot, the guy off the ball to the right, he blocks number 1. He's the captain. He determines who number 1 is. He tells the guy next to him who he's blocking. The tackle, the second man out from the X, has number 2. The guard has number 3. And if there's 3 to that side and 3 to the other, the snapper doesn't have to block anybody. The personal protector always protects the block spot, and that's the execution of solid protection. If they add a 7th player, the personal protector, the PP, tells the snapper who to block. And I'll get to those there in a minute. And then when they have more than 7, we have to have the snapper and the personal protector in the protection. We call those New York or LA. New York to the right, it's the East Coast in the US. LA to the left, West Coast in the US. Okay? The coverage. This is going to sound complicated, but it's not. At the higher levels of football, they will scheme you and they will block one of your guys and make sure he can't get out. So you can't just say, you have this, you have that, and you have the next thing. You can't do that. If you do that, you'll have a hole in your coverage. So as we cover, we fan the field. The first man out, if the ball is on the hash, and we're punting it this way, there's the wide side over there. The first man out to the side goes out 1 yard outside the hash. And it can be either one of those 3. You have to block, shed, and cover. So if I come out first, I'm running 1 yard outside the hash. If I'm the second man out, I get 5 yards outside of him. If I'm the third man out, which means they've tried to hold me up, I go and contain. I become the widest person. The important terms here are alley, force, and contain. Alley, first lane, force, outside shoulder of the returner, contain, 5 yards outside of him. They fan the field for 15 yards, and then obviously play football. Wherever the returner is, they squeeze and close and go to the ball. All right, now, how do we identify that? If you go down to the box that says 6 box solid, you see the rushers, 1, 2, and 3 to each side. The slot, which is the widest man, the tackle, which is the second, the guard, which is the third. They block 1, 2, and 3. The center doesn't have a responsibility. He goes and covers. The center and the 2 gunners and the personal protector go directly to the ball. We were fortunate enough to lead the NFL in punt returns in 2009 with Deshaun Jackson. And you cannot let a talented returner go vertical. If you do, you're in trouble. No matter what level of football it is. If somebody that's talented has the ball and they can get vertical against your coverage, you're in trouble. You got to make the ball go sideways. So the 2 wide guys, the gunners, and the snapper, and the personal protector, once they release, they are going directly to the ball. We've got to get the ball going sideways so our other coverage units can converge and make plays. Solid 7, the one below that, the personal protector walks up to the center and tells him that number 4 is to his right. He will go up and tell him, snapper, you got number 53 right there. You got him. He gets back. He says, set, we snap the ball so the guy who's snapping the ball knows who he's blocking. Everything in punt is to help the snapper. He has the hardest job. He's got to snap the ball and he's got to block in this particular scheme. As you move up, you can go to the top there and see 8 box. There's 4 to each side. The personal protector has to come up and tell the center which one of those 4s he's going to block. Don't put him on a fast guy, put him on a big guy. The big guy's to the right, he'll say New York, New York. That tells him who to block. He blocks the opposite 4. Everybody knows who they're blocking. We get the protection and we release and cover. That's how we set up the responsibilities of who is going to block who as we go along there. Now solid, we said solid. Solid is when there's 6 men rushing. You never, ever, ever bail on a snapper. If the snapper's here, I cannot widen. That puts him in a dangerous area. He has to snap the ball and protect. You never do that. You always vertically set. Vertically set means you're straight back. You're taking 2 kick steps straight back. That's how you get set to protect. Don't widen and create a hole. That's what they want you to do. As you can see by the diagram, the tighter the alignment of your responsibility, the less depth you get. Down at the bottom, you can see that they're wider and they set deep. In all protections, pass protections, punt protections, any kind of protections, we always go inside out. Never allow inside vertical pressure to get to your quarterback, to get to your punter, to get to your kicker. Everything is inside out. That punter, if he gets a wide rusher, he can always step up and get the ball off. But if you have vertical pressure up the middle, you're going to get punt block and something bad's going to happen. So you can just see the different sets by those guys as they're coming straight back to protect. When number 4 guy is over the center, the personal protector will tell him you have that guy, but then the personal protector, see the little triangle there? He's always protecting the block spot. He's always inside, protecting inside out. That's the critical thing there. Help protection. When there's more than 7 rushers, when there's 8 rushers, if the center is here, he's snapping the ball, and I'm right here, and that he has to block one of those 4s, I have to go straight back with my inside arm up. That's called a help technique. I'm helping the man inside of me. My eyes are on my responsibility. My hand is helping him. I say help to the guy outside of me. He's going to do the same thing. He helps, but his eyes are on his blocker, or on his responsibility. That is critical. When you have 8 men up and trying to get to the punter, the most important thing is get the punt off. You've got to get the punt off. And you got to protect. And there's different techniques that will help you do that. As you can see in the second diagram there, there's a stack behind the center. The personal protector will walk up to the front, and he will tell the snapper that he has the deepest guy. Don't let that guy go, because I'll handle him. The guy that's off the line is less of a threat. So he'll have the snapper block that guy. He'll snap the ball, let that first guy go, and then he'll be able to adjust to wherever the second guy is coming from. Don't put the snapper in a difficult position. Try to make his job as easy as possible. And the last one to the right, you can see that there's 4 to the side, and I'm going to go over the rules for telling the center who to block. But as you can see, one group is aligned tight. The depth of those linemen, the offensive players, are not deep. On the right, they're wide, so they kick straight back. So the basic fundamental of punt is this, and I'll try to demonstrate this. I'm getting a little old, but I think I can still do a couple little things. If I'm a guard, tackle, or slot, my inside foot is up, my outside foot is back. I have flexion in my ankles, knees, and hips. I'm nice and relaxed. I'm right here. Ball snap. I kick 2 short, quick steps straight back. My shoulders are square. My hips are square. My hands are in a position to block. If it's a help technique, I can do this and help with my inside hand. If I just have one guy, I can use my hands. The technique to protection. And I'm not going to have somebody come up. I'm too old to demonstrate. But as you come back, you punch, you lock out, and then you shed. You always want to release outside. You don't want to get caught inside. You want to get out and fan the field and then converge to the ball. If you're getting pinned inside, you have to recover and get back out to your landmark. It's much easier to punch, lock out, disengage, and go with width. And that's the key to everything that's going on there. And then finding a snapper who can snap the ball and block, which is easier said than done. Protection angles. This is just basically the accumulation of all the things that I've said. If your responsibility is right in front of you, there's no reason to get depth. If the responsibility is over there, I have to get deeper because that person is going to come and get to the block spot. The key thing there is the bottom right, the junction point. If someone's going to block a punt, they've got to get to the block spot. Make sure they have to go through your body to get to the block spot. You kick vertical, you never kick for width, you keep your shoulders square, you use your hands. Once you have contact, you like to get extension, stop the feet of the rusher, disengage, and go to your landmark and cover. That is the function of this particular slide here, understanding that you just can't widen. You got to get that in the heads of those guys. The drills to teach this. This may sound old school, but this is what we did. We got out a board, 2x4 board, and put it at the appropriate splits. And have rushers rush, and have that board between your legs, and it forces you to kick and stay square and have width. You never want your feet to come together, because now you have no base. You have to have width with your feet to have a base. So if there's contact, and I'm like this, I'm going to get run over. If there's contact when I'm like this, now I can use my lower body, my legs and hips and lower back and punch. You've got to have width. And that teaches that board. Just put 3 boards right next to each other. 3 boards right next to you. Kick back, shoulders square, hips down, use your hands, punch and lock out, disengage. And then they switch. The guy that was on defense is on offense. And you just go through that. That's the first thing we do. I know that sounds kind of old school, but that was the first thing we did to teach rookies who are talented people but don't have an idea what they're doing, the basic fundamentals and techniques of punt protection. That's a good drill to use. I think the things, I know when I was a young coach and I would go to a convention, I would try to learn a drill or a technique that could help my team or where I was coaching. And I hope that's what you get out of this today. It's not the schemes, it's not all this stuff, you know, who blocks who and all that. It's the basic fundamentals of executing these techniques. That will lead you to success. Try that one more time. All right, can we get a little technical help up there? Can you hear me up there? Okay. I guess I'll just talk for a while. All right, now. All right, just bear with me here. We're all on the punt team. I'm the snapper, the punter's back there. All of you are on the right, and all of you are on the left. The ball is snapped. I made it solid, solid, solid. Over here to the right, the guy on the outside says, I have 1. People in the middle have, I have 2. I have 3. On the outside, you have 1. You have 2, and you have 3. The ball is snapped. If you're on this side, kick slide, block your guy. If you're on the left, kick slide, block your guy. We release. The widest guy is the first guy out. He's going to go and become the first person in the coverage in the alley. 1 yard outside the hash. This group gets out next. You go and be the second, 5 yards. The tackle you got last. We're running down the field for 15 yards. We're fanning the field. We're running down the field as a group. And the way we did it, just to make sure everybody knows, if you got out first, you said, alley, alley, alley. The next person said, contain, contain, contain. Or force, force, force. So you confirmed with each other where you were at as you're running down the field. You're all running down the field. At 15 yards, you see that the ball is caught right here. Now you're going to converge. Whoever was alley, you guys out there, you come into my near shoulder. The contained people 5 yards outside, and the force people 5 yards outside, and contained third people out. You're coming at me like that. The 2 gunners are coming down to my face, so I can't get vertical, so I have to go to the right or left. You're coming at my inside shoulder. You're 5 yards outside. You make me go outside. Now I'm going lateral. When I'm going lateral, I'm not gaining any yards. That's the whole key. When it's away from you, you fold. You don't continue on that course. Now you begin to fold back inside, so if I cut it up, you converge to tackle me. Make the ball go sideways. As he turns up, converge, fold. I'm the returner. I go this way. Near number, 5 yards outside, 5 yards outside of that. That backside alley player is coming to my backside hip, so if I cut back and go up now, you have folded and cut me off. That's how the protection works, or how the coverage works. The best thing is if we do kickoff and punt, coverage is exactly the same. There's no different. There's ball, there's alley, there's force, there's contain. So the same people you coach on punt can go to kickoff, and all I can say to you is, hey, you got alley this one. And he knows just what you're talking about. Or I can go to somebody over here, you've got contain. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have to teach a whole new thing, a whole new entity. Okay? Hopefully we'll get the video and show you here in a second. But that's how the coverage part of it works. In the NFL, if the gunners don't make this guy go like this and he starts this way, that's a problem. Okay, thank you. Okay, we can go right to it. That is practice. Well, I was going to go to stay on huddle, and all right. Well, we have some practice tape of college. That's college spread punt. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let me finish up with this. If we could just go back to the presentation, and I'll get to that. Okay, that's the coverage part of what we're trying to get done in punt. Now, just briefly, just so you know, in case you decide to look into this, if I'm a personal protector, and we're all on the punt team. Everybody here's up, ball's on the hash, you're to the boundary, you're the wide side of the field. And I come up and say, LA, LA. I'm telling everyone that it's, you got 1, you got 2, you got 3. I'm telling the center, he goes there, and I'm going to go right here. You have your same responsibilities. I've just identified, go forward, 1 more. Go past the help technique, go forward. 2 slides. I'm just telling you the protection, but the coverage is always the same. It never changes. It never changes. You don't have to teach a lot of different things. It's the same thing over and over and over. And it's the same, thank you, it's the same through punt. It's the same through kickoff. Okay, because I think the point was made earlier by the gentleman, the simpler it is, the more they can understand, the more you can absorb, the better they're going to do it. So by having the same coverage twice in punt and kickoff, there's carryover. And coaching, as you do it for a long time, you'd love to say it's the same as this. It's the same as something that you already know. It's the same as that. It's the same as being a left tackle on punt as being the L3 on kickoff. And therefore that person can play both those positions without a lot of coaching. So that's just something we try to do. This is it sounds complicated. It's really not. It's common sense. Who do you want the snapper to block? A big guy or a fast guy? You don't want him on fast guys. You get a fast guy, go right by him. Top left, send him to the left. You got the big guy to the right, send him to the right. Now, you got the big guy to the left again on second one, send him to the big guy. Always send him to the bigger, slower player. Now, they can overload. And I don't know what you guys see from people trying to block punts against you. Third one down on the left, there's an overload. You got to send him to the left. If I'm the personal protector, and all of you are snapping the ball, and I tell all of you to go to your right, so you're going to go to your right, and there's two guys over there. Whichever one you get is okay. I'll make you right. Because I'm off the ball, I have time to react, and you don't. So as you go and you step and you block a guy, the personal protector should be the smartest, football savvy, experienced, trustworthy. He needs to be the coach on the field. That personal protector, the PP guy, that makes all these calls and all these decisions. You need to have a heady guy that can just kind of adjust and make good decisions. And that's where you get into the overload situations to the left and to the right. The other one that you always want to, never ever want to do is put your center, the snapper, to a stack of people who can twist, and he doesn't know who he's blocking. We always send him away. You don't want to get him in situations where he has to snap, think, and block. That's too much for one guy to do. So we always send him away from the twist. You can see that. He goes to the 4 away from the twist, and then the guy on the right would be blocking 3 along with the stack player. All right, now you can see this, and this is all. I want to make sure you understand this. All of this is the highest level of football there is. This is the NFL stuff. You're asking guys who are super talented to do this. I know this may not relate to what you're trying to get accomplished, and I'll get to the college spread punt in a minute here. This is the best players in the world doing this. So the snapper goes to the left to block that 4. I went back one too far. Okay? When they move and everything, you got to adjust. So your guy that makes all these good decisions is in there. You see the top. There's 3 to each side. You're all on the punt team. I'm the personal protector. Top left up there. Solid, solid, solid. The slot says I got 1. Tackle says I got 2. The guard says I got 3. Slot says I got 1. Tackle says I got 2. Guard says I got 3. They count them out. They point at them. We communicate. I say set. We punt the ball. We release. Top right. There's somebody over the snapper. I'm the personal protector. I got to tell them who to block. I say solid 7. Solid 7. You know, again, it's the same rules for you guys. You always have the same rules. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. I tell the snapper, hey, you got 53. You got 53. Set, and we go cover. Second one on the left. There's 4 guys to the right, 3 to the left. Solid 7. Solid 7. Center, you got number 4. You got 46. He's right there. You got him. All right? You're telling people communication. I'm not going to bore you, but I have a big philosophy. Communication. Any problem in the world can be solved with communication. If 2 people will sit down and look each other in the eye and talk, I truly believe you can resolve any issue. I do. I know that because I've argued with my wife several times, and if you sit down and talk, she's going to win, but there's some communication and you feel better about it. Okay? So, the trial and error. The bottom left, the third one down on the left, the center stack. There's only 6 guys, but they're stacked on the center. The guard helps the snapper. It says, I'm going to take 3. And the other guard says, I'll take the other 3. You don't want the snapper being involved. Okay, the third one down to the right. Very difficult. If you're playing, if you're going against a team that does this, the third one down to the right is a good one to use. The center has to go to the left, to the 4-man side. There's a 2-3 stack, which causes the guard and tackle to that side to look at each other and say, hey, there's 2 or 3 are stacked. They don't know which one's going where. So they have to kick step, sit, and wait and determine who's 2 and who's 3. You cause thinking. You can get a twist. You can create a free rusher. That's a good one to use. Down on the bottom left, there's 4 to the right, or 4 to the right, 2 to the left. You still take the center, the snapper, and go to the right. Those 2 on the left take 1 and 2. That guard kicks back and looks to the right to help. If somebody gets through, the personal protector has to get involved. Over there to the far right, you guys can see that. The same thing is true going to the other side. Going to this side. That slot has 1, the tackle has 2, the guard has 3, the first 3, and the snapper has that second 3. All right, we block, we protect, and we cover. Those are just some of the things, some of the issues that you have to deal with week to week, coaching special teams. You have to be prepared. You cannot get a punt blocked. All right, now it gets more complicated. Now you've got eight players up there threatening you. They're coming after the punt. They're telling you we're going to try to block the punt. First thing, the punter has to be aware of this. There's 8 rushers. Not that he's going to change a lot what he does, he's just an awareness. Okay? Have an awareness. Top left, you're going to send the snapper to the guy that's the least dangerous to the 4. Top right, same thing. Send him to the least dangerous to the 4. Now, if you are facing a pro-style spread punt, that second row is exactly what you want to do. You're creating some thought process by a lot of people. You're going to send the center to the right because the 3 and 4 to the left are dangerous. You want to send them to a guy with his hand on the ground. So that's a New York call. Go to the right. To the left, you got a tackle, a slot on 1, tackle on 2. The personal protector has to go to the left. So by doing that, you've taken him away from helping the snapper. You've taken him away. You have caused a problem. By how you align, if that snapper doesn't get that block, that punt's blocked. So that's how you cause problems. If you knew what you were doing and you're facing a pro-style spread team, that row is what you want to do. Twist them, have them twist, have people come. You want to isolate the weakness of the protection. Just like, and I don't know what level you guys do of attacking offensive protections. You're playing, you're a defensive coach, and they're protecting it a certain way. You want to attack the weakness of the protection. That is attacking the weakness of the protection of pro football and how they protect. Third row down, see those guys way on the outside? Had the privilege of working, I don't know, you probably heard his name before. When I was with the Philadelphia Eagles, I worked for John Harbaugh. And they did some things that caused some problems for people, and I learned special teams from him. And when those ones are coming off the edge, third one down on the left, you don't know whether they're coming or not. So we would bluff those guys in and take them back out and force the offense to change their protections. Third one down on the left. That's another good thing to do against that style of punt protection. Keep them guessing. To the right, the triple stack. I'll show you that. That's very good for college. And maybe what you guys do. You guys do the shield punt. Is that more prevalent? I would assume that's more prevalent in college in the U.S. than probably here. That's very good against that. The bottom two, you can see the stunts and the twists. Those are good change-up things. Okay, those are good change-up things. All right, I want to go down and I want to spend a little bit of time on something that's going to relate to what you guys do. These are different zone protections, different situations, how to protect at the end of the game, releases by the gunners, the coverage protections. This drill is very good. It's just the drill that we were talking about. That's exactly what I was talking about as you as a group in the punt team. Okay, take a quick look at this. This is the execution of, University of Massachusetts. I'll try to get this where I can rewind this and do this right. You see them pointing. They're telling each other who they're blocking. In college, in U.S., you can release right away. They're just making sure that the punt is released. You see them covered. The gunners have got to squeeze to the ball and not let the ball get vertical. I'll show you the other angle. It might be a little better. Okay, here. All right, this is the best one to see here. They're pointing, splits, footwork, shoulder square, knees bent, straight back. Blocking 1, 2, and 3. 2 doesn't come, so you see the left tackle release right now. His responsibility doesn't come. Snapper's paranoid. He doesn't have to do that. He's got to just relax and release. He just is making sure he's kicking back because he's afraid that guy's coming. I don't know if you recognize the field, but we played our home games where the New England Patriots play their games. Nice stadium, very nice place. See them release. They're fanning the field for 15 yards. The gunner on the left side of the screen needs to converge faster. The gunner to the wide side of the field is coming in like he should. Gets blocked in the back, forces a fair catch, and we get a penalty. That's a good job. As you can see as they come down the field, some of them better than others. If you'll notice, everything is based on not allowing that guy to get vertical. Make him go sideways. Make him go sideways. Make him go sideways. That is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Okay. All right, now, just briefly on this. What's really helpful to the defense is if you can pooch the punt ball and down it inside the 10-yard line. It's very rare that a team drives the ball over 90 yards for a touchdown. Those gunners, they are taught to release, run down to the goal line, and turn and come inside and do not let the ball get in the end zone. They ignore the fair catch signal by the return. They ignore it. We want the inside people, as you can see in the diagram, the punter, the person protector, those guys cause a fair catch. Gunners, if his hand goes like this, go past him. If he doesn't, you have to respect it. You have to go because he may catch it. I don't want to bore you with stories, but this held true for everybody except for, and you probably don't know if you've heard of him, but there was a great returner for the Chicago Bears named Devin Hester, who was phenomenal. The two best returners in the NFL at that time were Devin Hester and the guy that we had, Schon Jackson. Well, Devin Hester would just stand there, and he would not give you a signal one way or the other, and then he would catch it and he would just take off. Especially in that area of the field, he had some big returns because what you're coaching the people is he's going to fair catch the ball. Well, you couldn't trust him, so you had to go and you know, you had to get in front of him because it's very dangerous. But if he wasn't back there, but if he did a fair catch, you run past and try to down the ball. Okay, that's just the way that we go about it there with the two gunners going down and then everybody else in their lanes. They still fan the field for 15 yards. They still converge and they're doing those things. Okay, hopefully we can get to this next slide here. And I can spend the rest of the time on this next slide, which may be more relevant to what you guys... All right. This is what I call the college spread punt. I assume this is what you guys use mostly. What is more prevalent. There's 1 yard splits. The blocking is somewhat similar. You guys may have the same rules. We had red and black calls. Red is to the right, black is to the left. In a red call, that widest guy, the right gunner blocks 1. The right tackle blocks 2. The right guard blocks 3. In the shield, player to the right up there, to that side, he has 4. If there are 5, if there are 9 or 10 rushers, the person protector has a 5. The backside shield has a 5. And he tells that left guard who he's blocking. I'm blocking 56. So that guard over there, the left guard, he can say number 4 is 42. And then the guard makes the call, and then everybody communicates with who they are blocking. Now, what we did, and everybody, you know, I know the philosophy in the U.S. is you have 6 gunners on the field, they just run and cover. They just run and cover. Well, that's fine until somebody doubles that right tackle and he doesn't leave the line of scrimmage. Now all of a sudden, you have a hole in your coverage. It's not the way you had it planned. So we do the same thing. The first guy out, alley, alley, alley. Second guy out, force, force, force. If that guy gets out late, contain, contain, contain. We teach the same coverage concepts all the time. It's simple. They learn it. It applies to different phases of your special teams. They're able to execute it better because they have confidence in what they're doing. And it accounts for what they're doing on the other side of the ball if they decide to, you know, do a return that can cause problems. Later on today, I'm going to talk about punt and kick return, and I'll go over how we attack the college spread punt. We were very fortunate to have a good returner at a school I was at in the U.S. and did a good job. Our players did a real good job of executing. But if there's one thing you can get out of this talk that I've given this morning, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I know I covered a lot of NFL things, but as a coach, teach basic fundamentals and techniques. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to help young people learn, enjoy the game of football, and get better at it. The simpler you make it, the more fun you make it, the better chance those kids are going to progress, get better, and trying to get them to gain confidence. Gaining confidence by playing football. Having fun. That's why special teams is a really good part of that. Those kids that aren't starting on offense and defense, you're a starter. You're the right guard on punt, you're a starter. You make them feel good about what they're doing, about the progress they're making, about how they're contributing to the team. Because that's what it's all about. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. I hope you've gotten something out of this talk. And if you have any questions, I'm going to be over in one of these other rooms. Please feel free to come by and ask any questions. Thank you for your time.